Okay, so we have here a Yale Superior. This is the 7-pin version. So this is a dimple lock with some sliders at the top as well. So if you have a look at the key, you've got pins here. So those will lift the pins to the correct heights. And you've also got this slider track on the side, which will interact with a little knobbing on the sliders to put them in the right position to let a sidebar drop down. So we're going to need to pick both of those for this lock. So I've got some dimple flags for this, and a little tensioner that I made out of a metal ruler, well, a bit of a metal ruler. So we'll put some tension on there. It's important to make sure you're tensioning in the same direction that you're rotating the picks, because otherwise you'll get weird feedback. So with this, we'll go for the pins first. So just move along the pin stacks, feeling for who wants to go. Okay. There we go. Got a little bit of core movement. You can see the little handy indicator line I've added there. So I think we're down onto the spool now. We've got all the standard pins for the moment. So spool is pin 1. So a little bit of counter rotation on that. There we go. Got a click there. Check the other standards. There we go. So we've just dropped into an even deeper false set, which I think my finger was in the way for, but you know. So if we went into a deeper false set, we're probably down to the sliders. So we've got this one which I modified so it's a bit thinner so it can fit in vertically. Let's try slider 1. If I can find it. No, that's not going to an even deeper false set, so we've probably still got a pin. I've got someone at the back. Right, let's try that slider again. There we go. Got a click there onto slider 1, 2, 4. There we go. We're open. There we go. Right. So let's get this gutted, which is going to be an absolute nightmare, but we will do what we can. So let's get it out of the vise and move that out of the way. Right. So the reason this is an absolute nightmare is because of there's 7 pins and the sidebar. They all want to go all over the place. So we'll get the clip off first. And I really want to thank Yale for using a nice, easy to remove circlip. There we go. So, how are we going to do this? We'll get the key in. The nice thing about gutting this is that the key holds the sliders in, so you don't need to worry about those. So what we'll do is we will gently push the core out, and with my finger I'm just going to grab the sidebar to stop that from ejecting itself. If I just dropped a pin almost. Oops. Right, okay. Let's quickly pop that guy down. we'll just rotate the core a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Not too much of a disaster. So what we'll do is we'll let the sidebar drop out the bottom because that's sprung and it wants to go. There we go. And then we'll get the key pins out. So who's going to come out first? So that's 3. Move that here. 6. 2. And 7. This is where I need to be careful, because if I move the key too much, the sidebar sliders will come flying out and never be seen again. How we'll do this? Let's get the... Didn't think that through. Right, okay. So let's see if I can figure out which one of these is which. Can we knock pin 1 out? Because we know that's pin 1. Good. And we've got both the sidebar springs out. Right, now you are not 3. This is why you always plan ahead when you're getting locks, and you don't do stupid things like that. Oh dear. Doesn't help, I can't actually remember which pins were still in there. So neither of you 2. Well, of course they're not. I've got these here. It's either 4 or 5. It's been a long day. There we go. So you're 4. Which means you must be 5. There we go. Panic averted. Right, what we'll do is we will leave the sliders in there for a second and we'll get our driver pins out. So the driver pins for this, you may have noticed from the key, but they're not all in one line. So you've got 2 rows of drivers. So pin 1 is a double spool. So if we get him out, it's got two spooled sections. Got pin 2, which is a standard. Pin 3, also standard. Pin 4, also a standard. Five doesn't want to come out. There we go. 5, also a standard. Come on, 6. 6 is also standard. And then 7, where's 7? There we go. Oh, and 7 spring has come with it. Come on, 7. There we go. 7 isn't a standard. It is a anti-bump pin. So it's a little T-pin. But it's also extra long to give some extra bump resistance. So if you're trying to rake it or anything like that. Let's get the springs out quickly. Spring 1. Teeny tiny little springs in this thing. Spring 2. Are you coming, spring 2? go. Spring 2 has just gone. This is why you've got locks on a mat. Spring 3. It's trying to escape. Four. Oh. Oops, those two springs are merging. There we go. Should be one more spring. There we go. Okay, so that is our dimple lock section. We'll just nudge those all the way down so we can then get the sliders in. There we go. So the sliders, oh, move that cool. Sliders fit into the top of the core. Let's just move the little slider springs over there so they're out of the way because they are tiny and I don't want to lose them. So we've got these 4 sliders along here, which it doesn't want to focus on. There we go. So we've got 4 sliders there and a groove here for the sidebar. You'll see that is one smooth, there's no obstructions there because the key is in, sliders are all at the right heights. But if I take the key out, you can see those sliders start moving about. So now, if I very carefully take my finger off so they don't shoot off, suddenly hits slide it there, and there, and there, and there. So it means this sidebar can no longer drop down into the gap. It's always going to be protruding because it can't get down into the grooves on the sliders. You need the sliders to be at the right positions for the sidebar to be able to drop down. And if the sidebar can't drop down, it is going to be stuck in this groove along the top of the core. So it'll be stuck in the sidebar groove and it will stop the lock from rotating. Now let's get these sliders out. So we've got slider 1, 2, 3, and 4. And also they are perfectly smooth, there's no false gates or anything fancy like that in them. And then we'll just tap the springs out. One spring. No, just one spring wants to go apparently. Come on. Another sidebar spring. Oh dear. Matt saves the day again. Now, which of you still has a spring in that one? I think you could make one of these so much harder just by putting some false gates in the sliders. But you know. And then we've also got this, which I'm not going to remove, but you've got this section here which is a steel anti-drill section to protect it from being drilled from the front. There's another one in the Bible. That hole there has another hardened steel anti-drill pin in it before you get to the actual lock pins there. But yeah, there we go. Yale Superior. Let me zoom in on those pins a bit there so you can see all of them. But there you go.